What's going on, YouTube and cryptocurrency family? My name is Harry. I'm the Crypto Vet. Thank you for tuning back in. The bloodbath is continuing today in the charts. Today is Sunday though, so there is a chance that we could just hover here and maybe not continue to dump, and then pump again, maybe bounce back on Monday, or we could continue going down for another week. We're going to go into that today. So if you like the content, if you like all the different things that I submit to the YouTubes, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thank you guys so much for 2,500 subscribers. I'm almost at 1,000 on Twitter. I can't thank you guys enough. If there's anything I can do to improve, please let me know. This is not my first career. I am a veterinarian at Trait, and this is just something I've done throughout my life, but YouTube is completely new to me. So thank you guys. I will be doing another really big giveaway at 10K subs, so please spread the word. I appreciate it very much. If you haven't followed me already, follow me at Twitter at XRP Veterinarian. Here I post charts. Like, we're going to go over one chart that I did here earlier and post it on Twitter. So if you want to actually see that on your own computer and not just on YouTube, please come follow me and you can get all that stuff, or join the Discord. Links for all that down below in the goodies. So let's go ahead and get started here. If we go to CoinMarketCap, we can see that Bitcoin is down 10%, 26% down on the week. We're having a lot of stuff just move around like crazy here in the top 10. Doge, Cardano, BNB was number 3. So everything's moving around, and we can see 10, 20, 30% corrections across the board. The current crypto market cap is at 1.3 trillion, so we're going down there, and Bitcoin dominance is going up at this time because the alts are bleeding more than Bitcoin is at this current time, because people are panicking, so they're pulling out everywhere they can. Right now, as far as our biggest gainers are, the only thing steady right now is our stable coins, and for some reason SHIB, crazy. And biggest losers, it just goes, just you throw a dart, I guarantee you'll hit something that is negative. So if we go ahead and head over here to Bitcoin dominance, we'll go ahead and get started, and we can see that Bitcoin dominance is up to 47. And if I kind of zoom in here, you can see that we've actually broken above the 20 daily exponential moving average on the Bitcoin dominance, and we have had a nice little pump to the upside. So what does this mean? And like I've been saying before, Bitcoin going up or down in price doesn't affect its dominance in a straight correlation. If Bitcoin goes up but the alts go up more, Bitcoin's dominance will actually go down. So right now, when we've had this past 2 months of downtrend as far as Bitcoin dominance goes, I said it was really likely that we might have some sort of pullback, because even back here when we've had these big decreases here, like this one was over only in 3 or 4 weeks, this was 6 to 7, we've had this drop to the downside, but there's always been some sort of rally, even on these wicks where we were down at 35%, but hey, we got back up to 41. Well, now we've come down, we hit that midpoint that I said predicted back in the past, and I didn't just guess and get lucky. All I did was take 50% of what this run was here before, right? So I got lucky that that was pretty much where most of the average traded volume was, which is to be expected. We did wick down lower, but the line is right on the candle bodies, which is why when I'm charting, I try to use the candle wicks and the bodies to their own extent, depending on which type of chart I'm using, whether I'm really zoomed in on the micro scale, 5, 10, 15 minutes, or if I'm on the macro week, monthly charts. So we did get this bounce back here, and this is a lot of fear in the market right now. Bitcoin's going down further and further. When will it stop, right? So there's a lot of factors to take into account on where we go from here. So right now, if we close this candle way up here, we could see Bitcoin have a nice little bounce to the upside, and then this will bring some of the alts with them. Some will down lower before they come up with them, but in the end, they're going to be valued more because Bitcoin's worth more, and most are compared against Bitcoin. Some, only Ethereum or other pairs, but even then, the Ethereum is paired back to Bitcoin. So everything has to come back to Bitcoin at some point when it comes to trading any type of cryptocurrency. So seeing a bounce back now on the weekly here for Bitcoin dominance, we could see a plummet down, get some pickups where we, retest down at the 45 for the 20 daily. Who knows from here, like I said, I was waiting for this weekly close. In the last video, I was waiting for the daily close. Our daily close was okay, but not the best. And then we fell through the support anyway. So I'm still not in any trades, but this weekly dominance on the Bitcoin closing high here may actually be good for alts too, because if we come back down and find some good support here, trade sideways on Bitcoin, the alts are going to see their next run, and it's going to be absolutely crazy here. So if we take Bitcoin out of the picture and we look at just the total crypto value of everything except for Bitcoin, we can see that right here we are finding good support at a very, very key spot. This is the golden pocket for the total market cap of all altcoins in general here. And we were on this parabolic curve, which we did break out of it. And I just did this as a vague representation on what could happen if we were to continue going parabolic, but every show has to end at some point. And you know, when we broke through this $1 trillion point here, I was like, okay, that's not good. That was supposed to be a pretty damn good support for us to bounce and keep going. Well, now we're finding really, really good support on the golden pocket here, and this is where all the volume starts to come back below us. So it's very unlikely that we go too much lower with the alts. So this is kind of like saying that there's a almost like a bottom in for the altcoins, because they've bled a lot, 60, 70, some 80, 90%, right? So, you know, this is a very, very good place for us to catch a break and then maybe bounce to the upside and create a new, even bigger parabolic curve, right? But right now, this is showing that we are getting close to a potential bottom. Same with this Bitcoin dominance coming up to retest its past really good support, right? So this is just kind of saying like, okay, that's about as high as Bitcoin dominance is going to go for right now. So a lot of these signs are showing that the altcoins, Bitcoin, everything else together could be finding its bottom here, right? So just one scenario to keep in mind. So this here is the chart I posted on Twitter, and I know it is absolutely a lot, especially since all this stuff appeared up here in the corner. That's from the other chart. Let me get rid of that stuff real quick. All right. But this chart here shows the past bull runs of Bitcoin. And a lot of people are comparing 2017. I was like, well, we never had this, so this can't happen. And they're saying, well, in 2013, we had this, and we haven't quite reached that. Whatever the case would be, you guys have to remember that technical analysis is just statistics and probability, right? So if statistically this happens, there's a probability that this is going to occur when these conditions are met, right? And that doesn't mean that it has to happen. It just means that it's more likely to. So when I'm trying to look at Bitcoin and bull runs, crypto, whether it's an actual stock, like I'm looking at Tesla or say gold from the past 50 years, whatever the case may be, you have to remember that just because stuff is very similar doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly the same. Bitcoin is a very, very young asset. And if you look at Bitcoin compared to say something like gold, think of how much more data is available at your disposal to find trends and find higher probability outcomes based off of past experience. It's not as easy to do with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is only 12, 13 years old or something like that. Maybe only 10 years old. So it's still in its infancy. So, you know, just because we had one scenario happen in 2013, one scenario happen in 2017, what if 2021 is scenario C that we're going to be talking about 20 years from now? And then be like, oh, yeah, the 2021 bull run, that was the tricky one, right? We don't know because none of this shit has fucking happened yet. So, but what we do know is back in 2013, we did have a 83% correction. So let's say that scenario happens. We bring 83% correction to now. That's not good. That's $11,000. That's very, very low. Most people are probably never going to want to come back into crypto again, but it's possible. It's possible. It's going to be on my lower ranking of what could happen in the bearish scenario, right? More likely is going to be doing the retest previous all-time high theory, right? And that is when we come back, once we set a new all-time high, that we will come back down to retest it. Well, that theory doesn't really work because of the area that we're in the bull run. Right now, the bull run corrects typically every 4 years due to the Bitcoin halving. So we're on these 4-year cycles of what occurs. So if we do the 4-year cycle, if we go from the top here, and I can go ahead and draw a line, and this is just going to be rough estimates for 4 years just to show the the cycles going on here. So where is December of 13? So somewhere in here. So you can see that this is 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. And if we take a look at this, if we were at the top, we can't be at doing this scenario and this scenario at the same time because we're in the middle of a cycle. So if this is the end of this cycle here in 2013, right? That means during this last little bit here, September to December, we had the actual run. And if we look here, how much room do we have before the end of the bull run? Well, it's looking like, okay, 2013's bull cycle may actually be a lot more similar to this cycle than we think. Well, the problem with that is we would then have to do this 83% pullback, right? Well, 83% pullback's the 11K. We didn't like that. And also, this comes back to actually test the bear high here. So this is that 11,000 value that we had such a hard time getting over even before COVID. This is back during June of 19. During this summer, we thought that that was the end of it and that this was actually going to be where we're going to all-time highs. Lots of other analysts said no, 4-year cycle. And because we had this next little extended bear market plus the coronavirus stuff, it shows how much more accurate this looks compared to that one. This is just a little bit of excitement and too much fear kind of skewing off this perfectly rounded chart, right? Well, if that's the case, this is very likely that we will not, potentially actually have this 83% correction, and then from there rally up to even higher values. And this is where we get to the $500,000, potentially $1 million crazy Bitcoin prices, right? So, looking back, though, we didn't have a correction. This correction here still didn't fall below the 20 weekly exponential moving average like we do here. And we can see that if we did all my charts, just like apply every indicator here. I think it did. Sorry, guys, let me get this stuff off here. All right, and if we look at Bitcoin here back in, well, I was in 2013. Let me scroll up. Here it is. So back in 2013, when we had this big correction, if we take a look at these actual moving averages here, we can see that we didn't stay below the 20 daily or 20 weekly exponential moving average very long, but we did just for a little bit, about a 2-week period. However, during the actual crash, we did not fall underneath that, which if we look at now, we absolutely did. Man, all of my charts got applied to everything. Must have selected something wrong. Yeah, so if we look here at Bitcoin now on the weekly, we can see that we came up here to our top, and now we have corrected down to probably around 50-something% here. Let's see, 50%, 53%. For us to continue all the way down and do it exactly like this previous bull run would bring us down to $11,000. We would be very, very bearish. And I think that's just something that is, if that was in the cards to copy it out, we would somehow change it up and either extend this bull run much longer or something of the sort, because I don't see us correcting, just perfect straight line back up to, 50, 60,000 in a couple of days. This is going to take some time to consolidate. So with that time needed, it's very likely, if we just zoom out now, yeah, all of my charts, I've just blended all the text together. That's annoying. If we were to extend this consolidation period out, right, the most realistic time frame for it to go to would be, where do I have it at? It's not showing up on here. It would be probably out to around August or September of this year. So let's draw a little line right over here. Vertical line. So it's 2022. That's a lot closer than I thought. September. If I didn't have 15 different charts on top of each other. So just showing here, this would be, roughly, since this is the weekly chart, we're looking at another 175 days of consolidation potentially before the next breakout. So about 3 to 4 months of just bouncing around in this area, potentially forming a nice, symmetrical triangle or some sort of bullish continuation pattern. And then if we were to make it to this point, the real rally would start, and that would be this little section right here. And then we could be actually doing a very, very similar 2013 bull run. And that could include never going down to 83%, right? Because we're right here at this little golden pocket where we do have, of the amount of traded volume we have, it's more in this region than, say, like right below. But if we do fail here, let's say we close a bearish weekly candle down below 30,000, right? And we do continue further. The next big line of support is going to be at the previous all-time high, that 20K. And that is a very, very logical scenario where we come back, we broke all-time high, come back, retest the previous all-time high. Doesn't matter how high you went up before, you're coming back to make sure that's still a support, right? So from here, even though we went up pretty high, we could still go up much, much, much higher for Bitcoin. But yep, that's pretty much it. I know it sucks right now. I'm almost out of fiat. I'm gonna just do my best to accumulate with some maybe doing some short trades. Not sure, but for now I'm just sitting back. It's much easier to just not trade emotionally and just wait to see what happens, because typically you will go back into the green at some point. I've made this exact statement in my videos several times through every time we find a local top and it gets red minus 40% and I start getting all the questions, should I sell, should I sell? You guys, I'm just a doctor/idiot. This is not financial advice. I was like, but you shouldn't follow the crowd, right? If you're thinking about selling, why do you need to sell? Do you need the money for anything? Or are you just selling because you don't like that number that you see? If you just stop looking at that fucking number, it'll go away and eventually come back green, right? May take 4 years, right? 4-year cycles, but usually it will go green. All right, so now last thing here is, I didn't do all the overlays on my charts. This is kind of this little broadening cone that we're entering for Bitcoin. And, typically these will bounce, and then at some point they'll get over this resistance here, and that's usually a good sign that we're at a reversal point. But it doesn't look like we're at that exact point yet. Now, looking over at Ethereum, XRP against Bitcoin, when it comes down to it right now is I really just accumulate these alts during these red times, because you can get a much better deal when Bitcoin jumps down. And I'm not really trading or doing anything else like that, just because the swings are too big. And if Bitcoin drops anymore, it doesn't matter. We just have to figure out what the supports are for the alts. So since Bitcoin's still at a questionable spot on Ethereum, if we look here, we can see that we've had this nice ascending channel. We broke to the upside, got rejected on a long-term fib resistance, projected fib resistance area. Also, the big even right at around 4,000 seems to be where most of the volume was, to be sure people were selling. Got back down, completely fell through the channel, and now we're back on the 20 weekly exponential moving average, and we're looking like we could be filing a little bottom. Now, you can see how well we've just respected this over such a long period of time. When we came out, we skewed up like a certain amount, let's say 1 deviation, and came down, and we came down 1 deviation. It would be very likely to me that we would at least get back into formation. So I do think it is a good buy for Ethereum. But again, like I said, not financial advice. We could see that we are rounding out a momentum. RSI on the dailies getting close to oversold. However, we have not quite changed directions yet on our MACD, but one good candle can just round that bad boy back over. So Ethereum, same with all the other alts. It's just, where are the supports at? And right now the big support for Ethereum to me is going to be right around 1665, 1670. It's just we traded there for so long. Hopefully we can stay above about 2100, because this is where the 20 weekly is. If we do a quick look at XRP, this was one of the charts that I posted, and I was saying, okay, lower prices are always possible. And what do you know? I was wrong on my chart and right on my text there. We came down to 67% as far as losses go, and we could go lower than that. We're just waiting on Bitcoin. We're hoping that we could close the weekly above around 90 cents to stay above this 236 fib, this historical 236 fib. But you can see we had resistance. This was that huge pump, and now we're coming back to retest it. We've retested it now. At any point, if people decide XRP is the one, we could start seeing a big move to the upside, but that's not usually what I see. It usually takes a little bit of time to build up. If we look here onto the daily, I believe that was a weekly, right? Yep. But weekly, macro still good. We just gotta be patient and wait for that time. If we zoom into the daily here, we can see that symmetrical triangle we were in. We got We got horny up here, thought it was good, and boom, we got rejected. This should feel very similar to another time where we thought we were good and boom, rejected and rejected. But either way, we got rejected. We came up, we confirmed that. We are on a downtrend as of right now that we have not been able to break above. But this 65 cents is that exact point that I was showing right here, right here in this area. That is a good line of support for a back test. So we will see if this actually tends to hold. If it does, we could see a nice bounce to the upside, but more realistically, we are going to trade in this range for a bit. This was that previous triangle I showed you where we got shit on. Here's our current symmetrical triangle, and you can see it came down, got rejected on both the 20 daily and the trend line. Came down, and we did these little bounces here, and finally got what do you call it, support on the 20 daily, which we are not getting at this moment, which is kind of showing to a lot of signs back to Bitcoin here, where we never drop below the RSI in a bull run. We have a MACD crossing on the weekly. A bullish thing is, though, this is the lowest the volume weighted average price has ever been. Money flow is still positive, and we didn't reach 2017 levels of money flow coming in. So if you were to really pull out that euphoria, the Wall Street cheat sheet, I think that we're still only getting into the media attention, maybe right before the media attention really starts to pick up on cryptocurrencies. And that would really push the idea that we are more in a cycle like this, or we are creating a third type of cycle where, maybe it looks like this and it extends into a super cycle for, who the fuck knows, another year or so. We don't know, guys. But as of right now, there's a lot of bearish, a lot of bullish signs all wrapping up together. I think that the bearish signs are more from people being scared, retail investors showing us that we do have a lot of new people in the space, and that this is just one little wave, because there's always going to be that one correction wave. Nothing else looks like this is an actual top. So something new is happening, and we're just going to have to figure it out as we go. So thank you guys. Sorry the video was extra long. I just wanted to make sure I could get my point across on Bitcoin and looking at the space a little bit more than just one crypto, because you've got there's so many ways to interpret data, so many different ways to correlate how different things will work together. So, be patient and always keep learning, and we'll figure out and get through this market together. All right, guys, you have a happy Sunday, and I will catch you in the next one. And you guys are right. Something magical did not happen.